Welcome back to the Advanced Selling Podcast, everybody. My name is Brian Neal.
I'm Bill Caskey.
And I'm Brian Neal.
What's that over there? We're not looking at that.
Somebody let somebody in the room. We have our first voyeur cam. We stole this idea from Rush Limbaugh, the founder of the, what does he call it?
The EIB network.
No, he calls it the camera something. He calls the, not the Rush Cam. Anyways, you can go online and see Rush Limbaugh in a studio. We thought, what a great idea.
Yeah.
We can do this too. Put a camera in our room while we record the podcast, and people can actually see what we look like.
That's right.
One problem, though.
What?
I wore a really bad shirt today. You know what this is? You know what to call this?
Gingham.
No. This is my Jethro shirt. This looks like the shirt that Jethro from the Beverly Hillbillies wore every single day in every episode.
And it looks like you're Vera Bradley.
It does, doesn't it?
Okay,
Anyways,
topic today anyway.
Yeah, topic today. We're here every week, the Advanced Selling Podcast. We are here to talk about sales strategy, sales ideas, and tactics for high-performing salespeople and people who want to become high-performing salespeople. And today we are talking about big accounts.
Big accounts. How to pursue big accounts.
How to pursue big accounts.
You know, we've talked about that in the past, and that's one of the more downloaded podcasts when we do that topic. So we thought we'd get into a little bit more today, and you can call them whale accounts, large accounts, whatever you want to call them. I think we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
So there.
It seems like there's a lot of pain around what to do and how to do it. Companies seem to be really good at paring down, okay, this is the type of account we want to get, this is who we need to get to, and then they kind of run out of what to do next. And what I find salespeople struggle with is salespeople sit there and they say, okay, I know I'm supposed to call Tom Johansson. He's the VP of sales of XL Corp. And so I call him and I leave him a voicemail.
Right.
And then it's a couple weeks later, and my boss asks me, hey, how's it going with Tom over at XL Corp? Well, yeah, I called him, left a message a couple weeks ago. When are you going to get back with him? Well, I'm probably going to call him again today. So I call Tom again today, and I leave him another voicemail, and I do it. Problem is, these big account people, they're so busy, they've got so much pressure on them, they don't have time to mess around with voicemails until you're relevant to them.
Right.
And so we've been coming up with ideas on how can we do things and say things that make ourselves relevant to a guy in a big, large whale account and make us stand out right out of the gate.
Okay. Good. So we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah.
Some tips on that.
Yeah, some tips, some ideas. Can I go first? Do you want to go first? Okay.
Because I got to think of mine.
Tip number one is we first have to think differently about how we're pursuing this, and we have to think about it in terms of a campaign, kind of like the campaign that we're all going through watching the presidential elections. This one-time, one-touch transactional idea in these whales flat out doesn't work. We have to, over a series of time, show them that we, A, know what the heck we're talking about, and B, would be valuable to speak with. All right, so that's first and foremost.
So it's how you look at the whole thing.
Yeah, it's how you look at the thing. You have to look at it as a long-term campaign that never ends. There's no stop or start to it. It continues to go on for a very long period of time.
Okay,
campaign number one.
So here's my, can I have one?
Yeah, go ahead.
My tip. My tip is, and I liked what you said about being relevant.
Yep.
And an arbitrarily out of the blue cold call on someone and try to get an appointment is not the definition of relevance, right?
No, not at all.
But if you could call that person and create something of relevance, let's just say that companies like this whale struggle with how to reduce costs in the technology world.
Yep.
And you wrote an article, or you did just a very little white paper. You don't have to call it that. A case study, anything that shows them that you are working on the kinds of things that they're thinking about.
Yeah.
So it could be an article, it could be a top 10 list, it could be the 5 most common problems you see people have when they get ready to implement technology. It could be an interview with a subject matter expert. It could even be something that you don't even do, that you just grab off the internet, print, and attribute the source. But at least it starts to put you under an umbrella of caring about their issues.
Yeah. And I'll enhance that if I may. May I enhance that?
I'd rather you pick a new one.
You are a male, right?
Go on. I am.
This is a male enhancement strategy. This is a male enhancement strategy, and I'm going with it.
MAIL?
It is. The key to this campaign is to come up with a list of all the things you're talking about, but don't necessarily think in terms of things that I do or that we do. Think in terms of pain in that business or a trend in that business or industry. Here's for instance, I've got a client that deals with leasing equipment in the transportation business. Well, right now, the biggest pain in the transportation business is
fuel costs.
Well, fuel costs, exactly. So if we're really tuned into the business, we're going to find some ideas or some strategies on ways to reduce fuel costs and provide that expertise, whether it's, again, white paper or an article or an expert to bring in, that tells them, A, I know about this industry. I know what's going on. I'm a smart person about our industry. And B, I care about what's important to you, not just my version of it, but your whole business. Right. And to me, that totally starts to differentiate you from your competitors.
Good. Very good. Here's another tip.
Oh, please.
I just came up with.
Okay, good.
I made it up on the way into the studio this morning. Now, I've got a client who's in the technology business, and they heard this person speak. It was totally unrelated to their company. It was an outside consultant. He was speaking on this idea of voice over IP and how the new trends are not toward phone lines or toward network and data. And they're going to bring him in 4 times this year and have him do a 3-hour seminar. Yep. He's going to charge them a measly, I don't know, $1,500 or some crazy low amount. They're going to invite 30 to 40 clients, and they get to host it. They get to introduce him. They get to even do a case study at the end where now he's unrelated to them, but he is the expert. And so now they get mileage out of that because they get a chance to ask their clients. So now when I'm calling this VP of sales, I'm not asking him for an appointment. I'm inviting him to a valuable workshop that he would never have been invited to if not for me and the fact that I put this thing together. So that's another example of how to be relevant. Invite them to an event that they can learn something new about how to do things better.
Fixing their business. It's very, very good. I'm going to go, I guess I'll call this a plug. We're not getting paid for this, but
we aren't.
A lot of people in the campaign, in the beginning, I forgot to talk about this, can't figure out how to get the contact information for the right person. And we've come across a tool called Jigsaw. Jigsaw.com is a phenomenal tool that people can use, and we'd encourage, I'm sure a lot of our listeners already are on Jigsaw, but would encourage you, if you're not, check out Jigsaw.com. It's a wonderful program, and we're working on getting the CEO and founder of Jigsaw on our podcast here. So that's
what's the point of that?
Point of that is it's another tool as you start to develop your campaign to figure out who to talk to and how to talk to them more directly.
So if I have a prospect that I want to get in to see, I would go to Jigsaw and I would find out who's connected to that person. Okay.
And get the actual personal, and a lot of these contacts have some very important big-time players, and they have their personal email addresses, their personal cell phone numbers, their personal direct dial lines. Those are the things that salespeople struggle to get oftentimes. I've got one more idea, but I'm not going to give it to the people today. I'm going to ask them to email me. What? That's good. The idea that I have, I've been spreading with some clients, and I've gotten more positive feedback from this idea than any idea I've given my clients about what to do.
I need to email you for it?
Email, it's bneale, B-N-E-A-L-E, at CaskeyTraining.com. CaskeyTraining.com is C-A-S-K-E-Y.
Do you know how many emails you might get?
Thousands. Tens of thousands. 40,000. Doesn't matter. I'll take them. And it's a very simple thing to do. I will share them the little secret, and it will absolutely enhance the campaign that they're engaging in some of these whale accounts. It will give them the tools that we've talked about that will absolutely start to differentiate themselves. It's not going to necessarily close business. It's just a tool to use, but it's a really, really good one. So bneale at CaskeyTraining.com. bneale at CaskeyTraining.com.
bneale at
CaskeyTraining.com. Is that it? Are we out of time?
We've enjoyed today. I hope you've gotten some ideas on how to be relevant for large accounts. I've got another thing that we can talk about later that has to do with why we always tend to make it a point-to-point type of relationship like the VP of sales. Why aren't we spreading ourselves out inside the company? Makes it a little bit easier to do, but we can talk about that on another podcast. So long. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.